Off to Arlay we must go. I met with Luban, Bigfoot Santa, the vampire angel, and Poseidon, the king of Atlantis. The book is gone, I exclaimed in terror. Some keeper of the Necronomicon I was, losing the most important book of all the time, a book so powerful that it could awake Cthulhu. And doom us all. Fuck, damn it all to hell. And my son is gone. I went to bed with him, and was with him all night. He had bad dreams and could not sleep. And when I woke up, my only child is gone. Wait, what? You were with him and not me. Then who was I? You did what now? Hell has no fury like a woman's scorn, the old saying says, and Luban did her best to prove it right. I thought I was with you, it looks like you, smelt like you, and felt like you. The realization of what I had been poking on was slowly creeping up on me. We found the head of Amber, the real Amber. King Poseidon was holding up the head of the deceased former beautiful Atlantean woman in her long red hair. She had been beheaded by a powerful strike of a sharp blade. My dedication says we are dealing with a powerful shapeshifter, possibly another reptilian from the Illuminati that slept with the keeper of the Necronomicon, stole the book, and also took the boy after taking the shape of the Arabic woman Luban. It probably needs the boy to hold the book. It seems to grow teeth and bite anyone who has no bloodline linked to the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazard. But I fucking nuked the Illuminati, I said. Well, there are of course more of them out there. Some of them might even be foolish enough to wake Cthulhu. Maybe they think to defeat him by other means than nukes. Maybe they just want to doom the world, who really knows. The genius Sasquatch was laying down some cold facts. Indeed, who can understand the reptilian logic of filthy lizard men? And it might be another form of shapeshifter. I will hereby conclude that this woman Luban is innocent and will not be executed like all rule breakers of Atlantis are. We must hurry to the filthy stone prison of Arlay, where the disgusting abomination, the eldritch god Great Cthulhu, lies dreaming. There will be many stupid people, the disgusting Kepalids, enemies of mermaids and Atlanteans for generations. My army will help you fight them. Sasquatch, are there more of your kind, Bigfoots or Big Feet you may call them, to aid on our quest? There are plenty more of my kind, but none that can aid us on our quest, I am afraid. We have no time to gather more allies, we must leave at once. I agree. Well, first, we must make sure that my city will not be taken over by filthy shapeshifters while we're gone. Us Atlanteans bleed blue, a characteristic trait the reptilians have never been able to replicate, so anyone to be left guarding the city will have to cut themselves and bleed in front of my eyes so I can inspect their blood. After the business is taken care of, we shall be leaving. And so he did. Only one person was bleeding red, and the king quickly cut his head off. It turned into a disgusting reptilian head in front of us. We had time to eat and gather weapons and supplies, and then we left in the submarine. Mermaids and Atlanteans riding on giant seahorses followed, guarding us. Under the sea. We traveled for hours underwater, covering a great distance. In Nautilus, the legendary submarine who had once been piloted by Captain Nemo on his undersea adventures. The genius Sasquatch had of course made some improvements to the submarine, making it more fit for underwater warfare. These upgrades would come in handy soon. In the submarine was me, the keeper of the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead made out of human flesh and written in human blood. The book I had lost, and the book we must now recover. Luban, my love, the Arabic woman with telekinetic powers. Poseidon, king of the sunken city of Atlantis. Santa, the vampiric angel, wearing Sir Lancelot's armor, and of course, the Bigfoot was piloting the submarine. You know what, Bigfoot? We never got your name. What is it? I asked my hairy ape-like friend with feet the size of newborn babies. We Sasquatches are not much for names. You can call me Chewie, like my favorite Star Wars character. Well then, Chewie it is, me and Luban said at the same time. We both joined each other in laughter. I was thinking maybe you should let the vampire girl suck some of your blood. You have the mad Arab's blood in you, so you can grab the Necronomicon, but only you. It would be most useful if Santa would also gain that ability. Excellent idea, King Poseidon liked the idea. I concur, as long as the vampire/angel girl doesn't mind, Chewie asked. Oh, I don't mind at all. Santa removed her helmet and began to suck blood from my arm. It felt strange and funny as she drained me, but I was alright. My blood was joined with the blood of Christ, that she had already sucked from Jen's. The man had aided us in our quest, but met with a most unfortunate end at the end of the sharp tip of the Spear of Destiny, the very same spear that had penetrated his ancestor, Jesus Christ. It was something poetic about it. But wait, I won't turn into a vampire now. And wait again, maybe you should turn me into a vampire. Maybe the whole team. Having the whole team gain the skills of vampires could prove useful, I told the girl. I honestly don't know, but I think not. Not every vampire can in fact make other vampires. If we could, the world would have been overrun with vampires long ago. Only vampire overlords like Van Helsing, before he died, can in fact make other vampires. Oh, the irony. The greatest vampire hunter turned into a vampire himself. I wonder how that happened, Poseidon, the Atlantean king, asked. That is one of many things I wish to discuss with that bearded bastard and old fool Merlin, I proclaimed in anger. You and me both, buddy, but now it's time for action. Enemies approaching, great white sharks, big ones, a snaketopus, and a small army of squid men up ahead. What the fuck is a snaketopus? I asked, bewildered. Just as it sounds, a giant octopus with snake arms instead of tentacles, and a giant mouth with sharp teeth. It has been terrorizing the depths and eating many of my people alive. Let's kill this fucker. Time for some action. Chewie was piloting the submarine, and I, of course, was the shooter. The rest of the team helped with launching the torpedoes. The first two torpedoes hit the head of two of the ugly snake arms, killing them both, exploding and turning the water red with the blood from the heads and blowing off tentacles, filling the water. The sharks were hungry and could sense the blood from miles away. There were hammerhead sharks, saw sharks, tiger-striped sharks, gray sharks, but worst of all, the great white shark. They were all fighting for the blown off tentacle bits, and biting at the snaketopus's leftover tentacles still attached to its hideous body. Some of the sharks fought each other for the leftovers. The great white decided to end the fight and bit the smaller shark in half. I aimed at the snake octopus's hideous body/mouth in the middle between its arms. I hit it right in its open, ugly mouth, and it exploded from the inside out, filling the seawater with its blood and guts. Hideous intestines. Great work, kid. That shot was 1 in a million, Chewie the Sasquatch praised my skillful shot. Whoa, that Bigfoot really loves Star Wars. Who would have known? But Chewie, please tell me you don't love the Disney movies, I asked him. Fuck Disney, fuck Kathleen Kennedy, and fuck Mary Sue. The Force was always partly female. Princess Leia was a powerful and strong woman way before Rey and Rose Tico. My man, this Bigfoot was a man of culture. Princess Leia in that golden bikini in Jabba's place was when I learned a woman can be more interesting than a Nintendo game. Just a boy becoming a man. but I was not going to ask a fucking Bigfoot about his fapping habits. If Bigfoots even did those things, I was not going to find out in the middle of an epic underwater battle anyway. I guess some things are better left alone anyways. I am summoning my comrade in arms, the great whales. Poseidon, the king of Atlantis, could of course command sea life with his mind, and I know people give Aquaman a rough time, but there is much more than fish living in the deep. The fucking sharks don't listen to my command. They are all deemed traitors from now on by me, Poseidon, the king of Atlantis, the sunken city, ruler of the seven seas. The great whales came, orcas, the black and white killer whale you might have seen at SeaWorld, the big blue whales, gray whales with their humps on their backs, narwhals with their long spear-like tusks, but most of all, the MVP, the big kahuna, the blue whale's biggest animal on the planet Earth. Its heart is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. It must eat 4 tons of curl each day to live. There were 4 of them, all hungry with open giant mouths, opened and swallowing the army of squid men who opposed us in our quest to Arlay, the stone prison of Great Cthulhu. A yellow submarine appeared. It torpedoed one of the blue whales. Sharks were fighting and biting each other just to get a taste of the whale's sweet, sweet blowing off flesh. Mermaids were cutting the sharks and poking their eyes with knives. Some of them had underwater spear guns and shot the sharks straight in the face, killing a few. Atlanteans riding great seahorses cut the head off of hammerhead sharks and cut some of the smaller sharks in halves. But the great whites proved to be a big challenge, and some of them bit our men in two, and some were swallowed whole. Chewie kept our sub out of harm's way, and I kept shooting torpedoes, killing many great whites. The rest seemed scared and retreated. It appeared we had the upper hand. But the yellow submarine was still out there. Another blue whale was killed in action, leaving us with only 2 down and 2 alive. Its giant body was floating dead in the water. Massive amounts of blood from the dead whale filled the water, sending the sharks into a killing frenzy. Poseidon summoned a powerful underwater current. The flow of water pulled the remaining squid men into the sharks' kill zone. Arms, legs, and heads were all bitten off, leaving torsos with missing body parts floating about. One of the remaining blue whales opened its giant mouth and swallowed the leftovers of the dead squid men, and the alive ones, they tried their hardest to keep swimming away from its giant mouth, but they were unsuccessful. The mermaids summoned a pack of dolphins, and a group of dolphins can actually kill hammerhead sharks or tiger sharks by working together. Most of the smaller sharks were killed, and the rest fled, leaving only the great whites and the yellow submarine as our opposing forces. The squid men were all dead. 3 great whites remained. They were all attacking one great blue whale. The smaller whales had all left. The big blue whale swallowed half of a great white. The other 2, however, ripped it apart, and that's when I saw it. I took a chance shot. The torpedo went flying through the water for a great distance, and it hit. I sunk the enemy's damned submarine. I wondered who was inside for a second, but there was no time to find out. I blew the face off one of the great whites. Only one remained, and it proved no match for the great blue whale. The whale sent the shark running or swimming. Either way, it fucked right off. We were finally approaching our final destination. Arlay, home of great Cthulhu, the eldritch god forever sleeping there. Waking him would end the world. We must stop the bad guys and the cursed book of the Necronomicon, the book of the dead, back into safe hands again. Now we finally arrived at Arlay, the stone prison / grave where dead Cthulhu was dormant, dreaming for eons. Only a certain page in the Necronomicon had the instructions of how to wake the Eldritch God powerful enough to end the entire human race once and for all. The sound of drums, flutes, and banjos being played told me the ritual had begun. The air was filled with smoke and what smelled like burnt flesh, sacrifices of beautiful virgin girls of different ethnicities, no doubt. One white skin like milk and hair like honey, Scandinavian. One with luscious red lips and ebony skin. One Asian with perfect bone structure and hair dark like the night. And more Bosnian, Romanian, European, Australian, and so on. All of them perfect beauties, too young to die, with smooth skin. No man or woman would ever have the pleasure of knowing. The sight and smell sickened me. The mysterious cult of Cthulhu had been busy. Damned bastards, delusional madmen all of them, thinking they were in touch with God. But great Cthulhu was no god, even I could hear his call inside of my head now. I almost went insane from the sensation of his tentacles reaching into my brain. Oh, the horror. But I must resist. Luban, my love, was still with me. We had to get her son back. Had to, must get Abid back. Get the Necronomicon back. Let Cthulhu sleep, never to awake again. Sana, the vampire angel, was here too, with her armor and the Excalibur sword. Shui was with me, holding a teleportation pad and what looked like a lightsaber. King Poseidon was with us too, but he was the only landwalker of Atlantis. Being a half-breed, his army was swimming in the waters, fighting the deep ones, aided in their battle by great Moby, the last of the blue whales, King Poseidon's greatest familiar. An animal with a spiritual connection to him, aiding him in his use of magic. The ritual was more than just a blood sacrifice. There were also perverse and filthy orgies going on. I will spare you the nasty description, dear reader. But the participants were beautiful women of all races and ethnicities, men wearing dark red robes with face masks made from the bones from dead animals, squids, goat heads, giant lizards, and snakes. Trolls and giants, even cyclopses with red skin and one big eye watching the action. In the middle of all this was one of those demons with a living beard made out of snakes. He was holding hands with the reptilian woman who had stolen the Book of the Dead from me, and she was in turn held a knife to the throat of Abid. The young had the blood of the mad Arab Abdul Al-Azard in him, same as myself, and therefore could hold the book without it biting him. Chewie, the super-intelligent Sasquatch, was working on the teleportation device. It would create a portal that would let an army of Sasquatches come to our aid. But fuck, it was loud. It made beeping sounds. Beep, beep, beep. And the Cyclops turned its giant eyes to us. The eye turned bright red with hatred. We had been spotted. It was time for war. Time to end this once and for all. I dual-wielded two P90s, emptied out two 50-round clips of bullets into the enemy horde, shooting off their dicks' faces, hitting chests and tits, spread death all around me. Then Luban threw grenades. Bodies exploded, arms, legs, heads, and blowing off torsos all came flying through the air. Poseidon summoned a giant wave, and it came crashing down, sweeping the enemy troops away. First wave wiped out, but more were coming. Sana wielded the Excalibur in a two-handed grip, holding it over her head, making it charge up with sunlight, and then swung it down, creating a great wave of energy, splitting the enemy's bodies into two halves, like when Darth Maul fell to his death, leaving only the groin and legs left standing. Second wave defeated. But the third one was upon us. Poseidon struck a troll in its ugly face with his mighty golden trident. The troll's skull and eyes were penetrated, killing it instantly. But now we struggled to get it loose. It was stuck in the enemy's dead flesh. He quickly grabbed the knife, trying to hack the head of the troll's neck. He was not fast enough. Another troll punched him in the ribs, crushing a few of them. He, with great agility, penetrated the troll's heart with his knife. But one arrow from a crossbow-wielding cult member hit his right shoulder, making him bleed blue blood onto the stone ground. At least we knew he was not a reptilian shapeshifter. Luban blew the face of one of the trolls off with her double-barreled shotgun she now was wielding, and then quickly shot the fourth and last troll, ending its disgusting and foul, stinking life. There were no more trolls, but plenty of humans led by cyclopses. One single well-aimed shot from my 357 Magnum revolver blinded the Cyclops, making it stampede over its own troops to death. I killed the next 5 men with straight headshots and throat shots, but now I was out of ammo, and the enemy kept coming. Sana, the angel, had no time to recharge her magic sword. She was in the middle of the enemy horde, slicing down opponents left and right. One of the cult members lit her left wing on fire with a torch. A lone crossbow arrow landed between King Poseidon's eyes, ending his life once and for all. I pistol-whipped one cult member, a naked female covered in blood, straight in her pretty face, knocking her teeth out. Luban levitated a rock in her, smashed, and then kept smashing it into the naked woman's face until there was not much left of it, just a red-colored mess. And then Chewie lit the laser sword and began cutting heads off. Reinforcements of Sasquatches coming through the portal. Chewie, the Bigfoot, led the charge. Forward, my hairy friends. Forward, kill the snake-bearded man or demon, whatever he is. We must get the book back. Cthulhu awakens. Come on, you apes. You want to live forever? The silverback Sasquatch commanded his troops. He was the biggest one, almost twice the size of a regular Sasquatch, who were all just a bit taller than a big man. This thing was massive and had dark fur, contrast with the rest of the pack's brown fur. His one eye was bright red, and the other one had been blinded by a cut, and he was gritting his sharp teeth. He was ready for a slaughter. He commanded a pack of 20 Sasquatches, including himself and Chewie. They absolutely annihilated the enemy troops. Arms and legs were ripped off, bones cracked, heads smashed, hearts ripped out and eaten while they were still beating. The Sasquatches were fierce and relentless in their assault. It was over very quickly, leaving a battlefield full of dead and enemy corpses scattered everywhere, along with their body parts and smashed out brains and ripped out guts. We only lost 5 Sasquatches in the assault, with 15 still standing, including Chewie and the leader of the pack, Scarface they called him. He had a big scar across his face, and his right eye, he only needed one eye to be a murder machine though. Now we only had the reptilian shapeshifter and the snake-bearded demon left. They were standing in between 2 caves. I quickly ended the life of the reptilian with a magazine straight to the head, shots from my automatic pistol, leaving nothing left of it but exploded brains. Abid, the young Arab boy/demon, made his move. Now free from the demon's grasp, he threw the Necronomicon into the burning fires where a young virgin had been sacrificed. The book screamed in pain. But the Snakebeard triumphant held up a page from the book it had previously ripped out. He did not need to tell me it was the only page he needed. He began chanting in a language unknown to man. Out from the caves came 2 monsters. From the left was the snake-like head and body of a basilisk, and from the other one, right side, appeared a monster that belonged in the secretive caves of Mexico. It was huge and long, formed like a centipede, and its giant mouth was the size of a cave opening. These cave dwellers usually was laying waiting for its prey inside the caves, luring their unknowing victims into its foul mouth, pretending its ginormous foul mouth was a cave opening. Conclusion would cause its victims to move inside and come back. They simply could not stay away from its call. The eyes of the basilisk made 5 Sasquatches into stone statues with its monstrous gaze. It moved its disgusting yellow eyes towards Laban. But the woman was quick in thought and movement both. She had a makeup mirror and showed the basilisk its monstrous face in the mirror. It turned to stone when it saw its own ugly face. The rest of the big hairy apes walked straight into the mouth of the other monstrous creature. It was just like in that story told by the madman. Night Nator, the Sasquatches knew they were marching to their own doom, but they simply could not stay away. The compulsion was too strong. Only Chewy and Scarface remained alive now. Chewy was striking at the monster's tail, but his laser sword was overheated and exploded in his hand. His right hand was blown off, and now he was punching the monster with his remaining furry left paw made into a fist. Santa cut the monster in half with the legendary sword Excalibur. Out of its cut-up body, dead Sasquatches came spilling out. Some were skeletal, some were half-digested. It was a disgusting sight, and it made me puke. Now Scarface was walking into its mouth. I could see into its open mouth, and saw that it had many hideous eyes inside. Scarface heard the call, and his compulsion appeared to be driving him inside the monster's mouth. It swallowed him, and after a few seconds it exploded from the inside. Scarface must have sacrificed himself and exploded a grenade. Only a disgusting mess was left of the monster now. Abid had transformed into his demon form and attacked the snake-bearded creature. What the fuck was that thing? Abid had picked up a dagger from the ground and cut one of the snakes out of the snake demon's face, trimming its beard a little. Disgusting, dark black blood spurted out from the cut on the snake man's face straight onto Abid's body. The boy screamed in pain. It appeared that the blood was like acid. It melted holes in the boy's skin. He stomped the cut-off snake's head on the ground to death. It sputtered into an explosion of blood, melting the boy's foot. The rest of us were in a trance-like state, hearing the call of Cthulhu, and could not intervene. Abid headbutted the snake-beard demon, putting his demon horn straight into its right eye socket. Of the snake demon, it had yellow insectoid eyes, meaning each of its eyes consisted of thousands of smaller eyes like an insect. Now one of those eyes were blinded. The dark black blood melted Abid's horn, and the snakes in the beard all bit the boy's face, filling him with venom. The boy went for the throat and cut it. Acid blood spurted into the boy's face, starting to melt it off, showing the boy's skull under his flesh. The snake-bearded demon laughed, rubbing a finger with its blood on the page of the Necronomicon. It died with a smile on its face, and the boy Abid died screaming in pain, and then Great Cthulhu woke up from his eternal dead slumber. Hey guys, thank you for listening to today's Creepypasta, and I hope you enjoyed. I do have a podcast called The Murder House Radio Show. Check it out. The link will be in the description below. It is a true crime podcast. But if you did like, comment, subscribe, and share. For more, hit the bell notification when you subscribe and select all to get all notifications whenever I upload. I upload 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, at least one video a day. Now, all the long episodes and full series of creepypastas are on all major podcasting platforms under the name deadly_zone_narrations. There will also be a link for it in the description. Also, go follow all the social medias. They are in the description below. I do have a subreddit called Deadly Narrations. The link will be in the description. Also in the description below are the sources to the creepypasta and the music used, so go check those out. Let me know what creepypasta you'd like to hear next, or if you have your own you would like me to narrate. Or if you have a creepypasta series you would like to hear, send them to me on any of the social medias in the DMs, or to my email address, which is also in the description, or leave them in the comments below. Also in the description below is the author's social medias, if they have any listed. But that's it for today's creepypasta. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time in the Deadly Zone, stay deadly and stay spooky.